Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Unacademy, the one-stop destination for the UPSC Civil Services English Medium aspirants. Welcome back to Conquer Prelims 2024. We discussed a lot of government schemes in Government Schemes Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. Today, we are here again to discuss reports and indices, which can be very important. They can be those easy marks when it comes to your prelims examination. So this will be our topic of discussion today. Of course, before we dive in, we request you to pour your love in the form of shares, comments, likes, and of course, subscribe to the channel in case you've been liking the initiative. It does motivate us to continue doing what we are doing. Before we go ahead, a very important announcement. As we are nearing the prelims, it is very important for you to test where you stand in terms of your preparation. And if that test gives you a ranking which is on an all India basis, it gets even better. So please make sure that you note the date, which is 2nd of June. This is the Unacademy's prelims mock test, which will be held at 9:30 a.m. for the GS paper, and the CSAT paper will be held at 2:30 p.m. Make sure that you make full use of this. Check the questions wherever you are faulting. You can recognize those areas. Go back. You still have a lot of days to revise, and you can focus on your sections which you are faulting in. Before we dive into the video, another announcement. Please make note of the fact that tomorrow is another session of Conquer Prelims. It is a very prestigious session where Chetan sir will be taking up the marathon session for international relations. So do not forget to tune in again at 7:30 tomorrow for the marathon session. Now, just before getting into our first question, a few understanding about how to do reports and indices. The idea is to increase. What is our objective? Our objective is to increase the coverage. Because this is our objective, we will not dive into too many details when it comes to reports and indices. It does not make sense. The chances of one report where we are investing a lot of time coming in the examination are low. But if we increase our coverage, the chances of one of those reports coming is higher. So that will be the idea. Of course, there are few reports in which some amount of dimensions have to be covered. What are the indicators? What are the rankings based on? So only for those prestigious reports which have been so important, for instance, your human development index, in those areas we will dive into a little bit of detail. Otherwise, we will keep the discussion general, and we will also have a lot of comparisons where I know that you're bound to be confused with two similar sounding reports. So I've given you a good comparison between the two. So let's dive in now. Having said that, please be ready for your first question. This is the first question right in front of you. Consider the following statements. Very important, a few trends related to wildlife particularly become very important for the UPSC Civil Services Prelims examination. Please attempt it. You have your 60 seconds and then we will discuss it. A few more seconds to go. Done? Let's see first what have you marked. Most of you have marked B, which is 47%. Let's discuss this question now. Consider the following statements. According to the status of leopards in India report, it's important because it gives you very important trend about an important species which is mostly in the news and also very important from UPSC's perspective. And the tiger census, the same state enjoys the status of recording the maximum number of tigers as well as maximum number of leopards. In easier words, what does it mean? That there is a state X which has the maximum number of tigers in India as well as the maximum number of leopards in India. So this statement is absolutely correct. It's just a different way of checking if you know the highest state or the state with the highest population in the two categories, and that state happens to be Madhya Pradesh, MP. So first statement is correct. Let's see the second statement. When you're talking about not just states, in the report or the status of leopards report, there was also a mention about the areas. Which areas are the one which have experienced a decline and which areas are the ones which have experienced a rise in leopard population. So it is checking the area in the second statement. Largest growth of leopard population was recorded in central India and Eastern Ghats. Is this correct? This is absolutely correct. One way of you remembering it is just remember central. And if you are confused between Western or Eastern Ghats, remember it as CE. Central, C for Central India and E for Eastern Ghats. So this is absolutely correct. No problem with this. Statement number 2. Could you also tell me in the comment sections which are the areas that were mentioned in the status of leopards report where a decline was experienced? Where a decline was experienced. Could you mention that in the comments? That is absolutely correct. The Shivalik foothills region and the Gangetic Plain regions. Absolutely correct. Yes. So second is correct. Third statement. The tiger reserves in India, which has the highest population of leopards, in which the highest population of leopards have been documented, is also India's largest tiger reserve. This was asked in your prelims. This was a PYQ that which of the following tiger reserves is the largest tiger reserve. So that is absolutely correct. It is Nagarjuna Sagar Shri Sailam is the largest tiger reserve and also the tiger reserve which houses the largest population of leopards in India. Statement number 3 is absolutely correct. What about statement number 4? It is comparing the IUCN status of the leopard species of these big cats. So it says the IUCN status of the leopard, the snow leopard and the clouded leopard is not the same. It is not the same. This is an incorrect statement. I have clubbed these species together so that it's easier for you to remember going forward. The IUCN status for all three is the same and it is vulnerable. It is vulnerable. So there's a reason that we clubbed these statements. These statements were asked in a different light. UPSC can also do the same. Clear about this? So out of the 4 given statements, 3 are correct and only 1 statement is incorrect, making C our answer. C is our answer. Is this clear? Very quick points we will revise in the form of the leopard status report. So leopards and tigers, a quick comparison. The state we have identified, it is the highest in Madhya Pradesh. Even tigers are highest in Madhya Pradesh. The second state differs. For leopards, it is Maharashtra. For tigers, it is Karnataka. Even if you remember the first 3 states, you will be fine. So for leopards, the third state is Karnataka, and for tigers, the third state is Uttarakhand. It is Uttarakhand. If they ask you which tiger reserve has the highest population of leopards, it is Nagarjuna Sagar Shri Sailam, which also happens to become the India's largest tiger reserve. Please in the comments now tell me which is India's smallest tiger reserve. which is India's smallest tiger reserve, and where is it located? Where is it located? Ishika, this is the way to remember IUCN status, which is why we do this exercise for you. Once you club a lot of species together and you are tested again and again in the form of questions, you will remember going forward. That is absolutely right. The Boar Tiger Reserve in Maharashtra happens to be the smallest tiger reserve. That is absolutely correct. When you're talking about which tiger reserve has the maximum number of tigers in it, it is Jim Corbett in the state of Uttarakhand. So this is a quick comparison. It will help you revise which is the objective of Conquer Prelims. Clear about this? Yes. So when you're talking about an area related trend, the largest growth has been seen in central India and in Eastern Ghats. Do not confuse it with Western Ghats. The decline has happened in the Shivalik Hills region and the Gangetic Plains or the Gangetic Belt. Clear? The IUCN status we have clubbed together so that you don't have to separately remember the IUCN status. For the three leopards, which is snow leopard, the clouded leopard and your normal leopard, is the same, which is vulnerable. If this is absolutely clear, let's move on to our next question. Next question, everyone. Consider the following reports and indices. There are 4 reports given. You have to figure out how many of the given reports are released by the World Bank. I'm glad, Astitva, that is the idea, to give you easy pointers to remember. This should be helpful in your revision. That is the whole objective of Conquer Prelims here. World Bank being a very important institution, often reports by the World Bank are asked in UPSC Prelims. So it's better to learn it in a clubbed manner, which are and which are not. Last few seconds, everyone. Alright, so most of you have voted for B, which is 41%. Let's discuss this. Consider the following reports and indices. The first report is Global Economic Prospects Report. Global Economic Prospects Report. It is released by World Bank. It is released by World Bank. It is a simple analysis of how the global economy is prospering or is declining. What are the challenges that the global economy is facing, and those are the considerations of this particular report. Don't have to get into a lot of details, just have to know who is it released by. So Global Economic Prospects Report is World Bank. Please remember that it is not IMF. It is possible that you get confused. It is not IMF. Global Economic Prospects Report. Statement number 2. Migration and Development Brief. Migration and Development Brief is important. It does talk about a lot of out-migration, in-migration. A very important aspect of this report is also the remittances, in which India was ranked one of the highest, in fact, the highest in terms of the remittance inflow. And that was often in the news. So it is important. It is also released by the World Bank. Do not worry if there are similar sounding migration reports. We have clubbed it together so that your confusion is eliminated. Statement number 3, the International Debt Report. International Debt Report will focus more on the debt, the external debt, which is the government debt particularly, where they have taken funds from international institution or extra commercial borrowing, etc., and not domestic borrowing. So those will be the focus of it. Again, not IMF. It is World Bank. It is World Bank. So please understand that first and third, even though seem like they are not from World Bank and they could be IMF, it is not IMF. As I said, it is important to remember what is not, to eliminate your questions in prelims. Worldwide governance indicators. Worldwide governance indicators is basically how governance is particularly in different countries, with the opinion of a lot of NGOs, civil society, etc. So basically rating governance. Okay, that is the objective of this report, and that is also released by World Bank. So all of the 4 given reports are released by World Bank. The idea was to club everything together. Now that you see World Bank with these 4 reports, is easier to remember. It's easier to remember. Look at the explanation now. So D is your answer. D is your answer. Please look at this. This will be easy for you to revise going forward. So World Bank, an important report that you will remember is Global Economic Prospects. The Logistics Performance Index. It's very important because we have formulated a Leads Index for our state rankings on the basis of this Logistics Performance Index. It basically checks the infrastructure, how ready is the infrastructure, what are the regulatory parameters when it comes to easy governance, is it taking lesser time to send goods from one region to another. So those are the concerns. It is very, very important. Logistics Performance Index. There used to be an important index which was also the ease of doing business. It was asked also in prelims. So these become important in the context of World Bank. The third is the International Debt Report. The fourth is also very important. It is Women, Business and the Law Report. It basically dives into how women are restricted, or what are the parameters, the concerns that are restricting women in order to take up a new enterprise. Is the law of the country supporting the women, or is supporting the women's labor force participation rate? Those are the concerns for this report. This is also a World Bank report. Please remember this. Migration and Development Brief. Important again. This is also World Bank's report. Can you see these kind of news that generally we see in the whole year? India saw the highest amount of remittance inflows in the world in 2023. That becomes important in the context of Migration and Development Brief. Statistical Performance Indicators is also World Bank. It will check how data-driven policy is taken up in different countries. What is the status for statistics? How are the statistical organizations performing? What is the methodology to collect data, and how is that data used in the running of these countries? So Statistical Performance Index, also World Bank. And Worldwide Governance Indicators, also World Bank. If you get confused, please remember, when it says World Migration Report, that is by UN, International Organization for Migration. But when it says Migration and Development Brief, then it is World Bank. So I've put these two similar sounding reports in one place so that you don't have any confusion. Clear? All right, let's move on. If this is clear, please revise whenever you can. This will be easy for you to revise this format. So now let's move on to our next question. Next question, everyone. Consider the following statements. Very important again. Done? So most of you have voted for A, which is 51%. Let's discuss this. All right. Consider the following statements. Global multidimensional poverty index. So this is a different way of analyzing poverty. It is not a way where you just see the head count ratio or the number of people who come below a particular line called maybe the poverty line. It is about checking the intensity of poverty in the context of deprivations. So it is not just one income criteria that manages or measures the poverty, that you come below it or not. It is checking the deprivation, that on these many indicators are you deprived or not, and that's how it is important in a different way. This has also been asked in mains, in UPSC mains. That is what gives us an insight that it is in the UPSC's radar. It can be important. Okay, so global multidimensional poverty index, human development index, and gender social norms index. Very important. Three of these are very important, are released by the same organization. Is this true? There was a reason that I clubbed these reports together. Now it will be easy for you to remember that it is released by the same organization, which is UNDP. Absolutely correct. Clear? So global multidimensional poverty index, human development index, and gender social norms index are released by the same organization. Let's discuss this first and then we'll come back to our statement. Please look at the analysis here. Global Multidimensional Poverty Index is released by UNDP along with Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative. Along with. Now, when you talk about this, what are the parameters that they are including, the indicators, the dimensions? These are the dimensions. They will check the performance, or they will check if a particular person is deprived on a few parameters, on a few indicators. The big dimensions are health, education, and standard of living. So in health, the parameters are child mortality and nutrition. In education, the parameters are years of schooling and school attendance. Clear? And in living standards, there are other parameters such as, do you have access to cooking fuel? Do you have access to proper clean sanitation? Do you have access to drinking water? Do you have access to a house? You have shelter? Do you have access to power, which is electricity, and other assets? Other assets could be defined maybe a fridge, a motorcycle, etc. Clear? So that is multidimensional poverty index. It checks deprivations on these many parameters. Clear? So it is important to just at least know which all dimensions are included. Clear? So that is why statement 1 is correct. It is the same organization is responsible for global multidimensional poverty index, for human development index, and also for gender social norms index. What do they do in gender social norm index? A lot of surveys are taken up where a lot of people are surveyed and they answer a few questions, and on the basis of those questions they figure out if social norms, if social customs, if social stereotypes are hindering women's progress. So these kind of information is under the gender social norms index. Very, very important. The three, you can club them together and remember that. Clear? Let's come to second. India ranks. Now, when it talks about HDI, we will discuss HDI. India ranks in top 100 countries. We do not rank in top 100. We are in 130s. We do not rank in top 100. It is not a very close option. Even if UPSC is asking for the rank, it will not be 131 or 132. It will be a very far-fetched option which will be easier for you to eliminate. So do not worry about that. So we are not in top 100 and we are and we are also not performing better than our immediate neighbors such as Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. This can also be asked. We are not performing better than Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. So what all is included in Human Development Index? The parameters or dimensions are long and healthy life, knowledge, and standard of living. For long and healthy life, the indicators are life expectancy. For knowledge, there are two indicators. One is mean years of schooling and the second is expected years of schooling. And for standard of living, it is GNI per capita, gross national income per capita on a purchasing power basis. So these are simple indicators. Even if you briefly remember that these are indicators in HDI and these are indicators in multidimensional poverty index, you will be fine. These of course will have more indicators because on the basis of this it will check for deprivation. What is provided, what are you deprived of? This is how you will check for intensity of poverty. Intensity, not just knowing that you are below a certain poverty line, but where all are you poor, which are the areas specifically which you are deprived in. Clear? It's important because on the model, on the lines of the multidimensional poverty index, we have launched a national multidimensional poverty index. A national multidimensional poverty index, and that is not launched by CSO, NSO, etc. It is launched by Niti Aayog. It is launched by Niti Aayog. So I've written this here so that when you're doing multidimensional poverty index, you can remember Niti Aayog for the national version of it. Clear? You do not have to specifically remember all criterias. Only for these prominent reports, just try to go through them so that you at least know that there are more criterias in multidimensional and fewer in HDI. That should also solve the purpose. Okay? Alright, so here HDI score for India or HDI rank is 134. Just remember 130s and you will be fine. And remember also what it's not. So we are not in the top 100 bracket. Which category of human development do we belong to? We belong to the medium category of HDI outcomes. So the medium category. Clear? So if this is understood, let's see this. So second becomes incorrect. We are ranked 134, not ahead but behind our neighbors. Statement 3, National Multidimensional Poverty Index is released by CSO also becomes incorrect. It is Niti Aayog. It is Niti Aayog. So how many of the given statements is or are correct? Only one statement is correct, that is A. That is A. Clear? Well done. Most of you got this question right. So club reports together, it's easy for you to remember. Okay? All right. Next question, everyone. Consider the following statements. Again, a few important reports. Read the question very carefully. You have 60 seconds to answer that in the polls. Gender social norms is also UNDP. Global Gender Social Norms Index is also UNDP. Last few seconds, everyone. Let's discuss this. Consider the following statements. World Energy Outlook, World Energy Outlook, Global Methane Tracker, and World Energy Transitions Outlook are released by International Energy Agency, IEA. That is the statement. That statement is incorrect. That is incorrect, because the first two reports that are given, that is World Energy Outlook and Global Methane Tracker, are published or released by IEA, but the World Energy Transitions Outlook is not launched by IEA, it is launched by IRENA. Clear about this? It is not. The third, World Energy Transitions, World International Renewable Energy, renewable energy. Clear? Yes. So it is by IRENA and not IEA. Please remember that when it's talking about a transition, it's transitioning to cleaner fuels, renewable energy. That is the focus of the particular report. So you can use the word transitions to know that it will have something to do with a renewable energy agency. Clear about this? Yes, and not IEA. Please, can you tell me in the comments, is India a member, a full-time member of the the International Energy Agency? Is India a full-time member of the International Energy Agency? It is not. It is not. Clear? It is not. Yes, please remember this going forward. So the third is not true, but Global Methane Tracker and World Energy Outlook are IEA reports. Point number one. Before we get into point number two, let's discuss this. So the important reports that you need to remember, which are released by IEA, are of course the first, World Energy Outlook. World Energy Outlook. The second report is World Energy Investment Report. World Energy Investment Report. And the third is Global Methane Tracker. Global Methane Tracker. Now methane reports will be more. We will see it in the coming slides, but remember the word tracker. When it says methane tracker, it is International Energy Agency. So Global Methane Tracker, and in this report it was commented, this report basically specified that 40% of the methane emissions, 40% of the methane emissions are because of natural sources. They are not because of anthropogenic or human activities, but because of natural sources, for instance, wetlands emitting methane, etc. 60% of the emissions of methane are attributed to humans. So if there is a statement that according to the Global Methane Tracker, more methane emissions or majority of the methane emissions are attributed to natural sources, that is incorrect. 60% is human, and in that 60%, agriculture contributes the most. Agriculture contributes the most. The second is of course your energy sector. Clear about this? So Global Methane Tracker, World Energy Investment Report and World Energy Outlook, all three are reports of International Energy Agency. Clear? IRENA is basically releasing World Energy Transitions Outlook. Please remember, when the word transitions will come, it will talk about transitioning to cleaner sources or renewable energy sources. That is how you can remember that. Okay. So first is incorrect. Let's read our second statement. The state of the world's forest report. The state of the world's forest report, I will not dive into too much discussion. I'm sure you have already done this in your Conquer Prelims classes in environment, but this is just a revision since we will be doing FAO reports together. The state of the world's forest report is published by Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO. Please remember this, even if it sounds weird that a food and agricultural organization, why will it release a forest report? It is true. Please remember this. Sometimes these kind of reports which have no connection to the organization, at least not seeming like, do come. Okay, so the second is absolutely correct. FAO is releasing the World Forest Report. Clear? Yes. Now look at a few FAO reports. FAO reports. The State of World's Forest report is the first report that you need to know for FAO. The second report is state. Please remember, all are state of. So all are easy to remember. State of World's Forest, states of World's Fishery and Aquaculture, and state of Food and Agriculture. It's easy to remember when they are all put together. Clear? And the fourth is important, the Global Food Price Index. The Global Food Price Index is launched by FAO. It is not by IFPRI. It is not by IFPRI. But a very important area when it comes to food is hunger. It's hunger. So always remember, the Global Hunger Index is not released by FAO but by an institution called IFPRI. That is why I've put it right in front of FAO so that there is no confusion going forward. Whenever it says hunger, whenever there is a word hunger, it is IFPRI. Whenever it says state of the world's forest, state of the world's fisheries, state of the world's food and agriculture, Global Food Price Index, it is FAO. Clear about this? Yes. So look at this now. Third statement, Global Hunger Index, very important index indeed, and Global Food Price Index are released by IFPRI. That is incorrect, because one is released, the Global Hunger Index is released by International Food Policy Research Institution, but the Global Food Price Index is released by FAO. Is this understood? So those are not the same. Yes, so that is why third is also incorrect. How many of the given statements is or are incorrect, it is asking. So B is your answer. 2 statements are incorrect. Well done. Okay, let's discuss this a little more. So when you talk about the Global Hunger Index, first of all, point 1, not FAO, IFPRI. Second point, a score of 0 is best. A score of 0 will say that there is no hunger, and a score of 100 is worst, that is there is excessive prevalence of hunger. Where does India rank? Is India in the top 10 or top 100? No. India ranks in around 111th. The rank will not be important. Just remember that we are not faring too well particularly. The score that we have is around 28. This is also a few participating institutions along with IFPRI are concerned worldwide and hunger health. Clear? What are the indicators that are used for this report? Just remember 4 pointers, how we did for HDI, how we did for global, for multidimensional poverty index. The indicators are undernourishment, child stunting, child wasting, and child mortality, all given in one place. Clear? So Global Hunger Index, please remember, I will write it here also, not FAO. Not FAO. Clear about this? Yes. So now we'll move on to our next question. Next question. Consider the following pairs. Consider the following pairs. The rank will not be so important. They will not ask you very specifically. They will, even if they ask you, it is going to be a very distant number that they will give, which will be easier for you to solve. So please do not worry about things. The focus should be on coverage and not simple things or ranks which will not even be asked. Clear? Few seconds, everyone. Let's see what you have voted for. So most of you have voted for C, Let's discuss this. Consider the following pairs. The first is World Population Prospects. World Population Prospects, and the fund written in front is UN Population Fund. World Population Prospects. Is this correct? Is this correct? I have put all reports when it comes to population, at least the main reports together. The World Population Prospects is not by UN Population Fund, but it is by UNDESA, UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs. It is by UNDESA, World Population Prospects. The second report is different when it comes to population. It is State of World Population Report. The State of World Population Report is by United Nations Population Fund. So please make a distinction. When it says prospects, then it is UNDESA. When it says a simple report, it is UN Population Fund. So two reports which are similar sounding, there can be a confusion. That is why it is right here. When you talk about a specific report, which is India Aging Report 2023, India Aging Report, which talks about the trends that India's senior citizens or the dependent population or the aging population might increase in the years to come, maybe by 2050, and therefore we should also be ready when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to social security, etc. So India Aging Report 2023 is also produced by UN Population Fund and International Institution for Population Sciences. Please understand the difference between the World Population Prospects and the State of World Population Report. Clear? Yes. So the first is incorrect. The first is incorrect because this is UNDESA. This is UNDESA. The second report, International Intellectual Property Index. International Intellectual Property Index, and it says WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization. It is incorrect. It is not launched. That is why I had particularly given this here, so that you make a distinction when it comes to any report which is around intellectual property rights. Now we will look at those reports as well. Look at this. So World International Property Organization is responsible for releasing the Global Innovation Index. Point number one, the Global Innovation Index, very important for you to know this. It is an initiative of WIPO, the Cornell University and INSEAD. Second is World Intellectual Property Report. So the intellectual, particularly report that you're talking about, is the World Intellectual Property Report, not the International Property Index. Clear? And the third is World Intellectual Property Indicators. The International Intellectual Property Index, on the other hand, is launched by the US Chamber of Commerce. By the US Chamber of Commerce. So make this distinction. Whenever there are generally innovation related words, intellectual related words, it will be WIPO. It will be WIPO, but International Intellectual Property Index is US Chamber of Commerce. Clear about this? Yes. So that is why second statement is incorrect. Let's talk about the third statement. Global Competitiveness Report. Global Competitiveness Report is launched by World Economic Forum. That is absolutely correct. That is absolutely correct. Third is correct. And what about the fourth? The fourth one says World Wildlife Crimes. World Wildlife Crimes by CITES. That is incorrect. It is by UN Office of Drugs and Crime. The UN Office of Drugs and Crime. So out of the four given reports, only one is correctly matched. Only one is correctly matched, making A as our answer. A as our answer. Clear about this? Look at this also. Global Competitiveness Report, very important. WEF, World Competitiveness Index. Global is WEF. World Competitiveness Index is IMD. Make that distinction. I have put it together so that you don't have any confusion going forward. Clear about this? Yes. Alright. These slides will be available on the Telegram channel. They will be available on the Telegram channel. Don't worry about this. And World Wildlife Crime is UN Office on Drugs and Crime, not IUCN. The reason that we are doing so many reports is so that we can increase our coverage. I can club a few reports together so it's easier for you to remember along with these notes. That is the idea. So as of now, if you're feeling overwhelmed, the question is seeming difficult, it is absolutely okay. You're taking back so much more when you are attending these particular lectures and you are adding to that last minute revision. So do not feel overwhelmed. Attempt the question and try to retain as much as you can from here itself. Okay, so let's go on to our next question. Consider the following reports. Again, a few reports are given. You have to figure out which of the following reports are released by the UNEP, United Nations Environment Programme. Please attempt this and then we will discuss this. A few more seconds. For those of you who are saying it's a bouncer, when reports together are done in such little time, in such less time, it is supposed to be a bouncer. If you knew everything before attending this class, there would be no reason for you to benefit from this class. So please make the most of it. That is the idea of these sessions. That whatever is lacking, whatever can be done in very short amount of time is the objective. So most of you have opted for B, that is 30%. Let's discuss this. Consider the following reports. The first report, very important, is Climate Change Performance Index. Climate Change Performance Index. Clear? Please remember, we will discuss this at length, but Climate Change Performance Index, first point to be noted, is not released by UNEP. Let's understand the nots first. So it is not released by UNEP, point number 1. Point number 2, State of Finance for Nature. State of Finance for Nature. Global Methane Assessment and Emission Gap Report. When you're talking about these reports, whenever there is a gap report, that what are the gaps that you need to fulfill in order to obtain or in order to make sure that we are not breaching our 2 degrees or 2 degrees rise related target or promise. So what are the emissions? What are the emissions that are permitted? How are we faring in terms of the current emissions? What more do we have to do in order to stop the rise of temperature below 2 degrees Celsius? Global methane assessment, of course, methane being a very prominent greenhouse gas, is important. Now do you see how we did the global methane tracker? Global methane tracker was IEA versus global methane assessment is UNEP. So UNEP reports are State of Finance for Nature, Global Methane Assessment and Emission Gap Report. Clear? So second is correct, third is correct and fifth is correct, making C as our answer. C, which is 2, 3 and 5 are reports published or released by UNEP. Who releases the Greenhouse Gas Bulletin? You all have done this in one of the Conquer Prelims sessions earlier. The Greenhouse Gas Bulletin is released by WMO, World Meteorological Organization. So please remember, the bulletin is not by UNEP and the Climate Change Performance Index is also not by UNEP. Clear about this? Yes. So now let's dive into the discussion. So UNEP on the one side, World Meteorological Organization on the other side. Now let's see a quick way is to remember that both the reports which have a gap in it, emission gap report, adaptation gap report, are published by UNEP. Point number 1. State of finance report. What are the contributions of developed countries? How are they faring? How are we in terms of climate finance? Those are the concerns in these particular reports. Global waste management outlook. Global waste management outlook, and another one which is the global methane assessment. Global methane assessment is an initiative of UNEP and Climate and Clean Air Coalition. Clear? So please remember, these are the UNEP reports. And the World Meteorological Organization. The World Meteorological Organization produces a very important report, which is the Greenhouse Gas Bulletin and the state of global climate. Everything to do with climate, everything to do with a greenhouse gas bulletin will be WMO. Clear about this? It is important to note that. All right. So with this, let's come to the Climate Change Performance Index. Important to note, not UNEP. It is released by 3 environmental NGOs, which is German Watch, New Climate Institute and Climate Action Network. Even if you remember German Watch and not UNEP, it will be sufficient. What is the assessment based on? To check climate change performance. How ready are you? What are you doing in terms of adaptation? What are you doing in terms of restricting climate change? What are you doing in terms of renewable energy generations? Those are the areas. So the first or the most important criteria, maximum weightage in the assessment, is given to the greenhouse gas emissions. 40% of the weightage in this particular remote is given to greenhouse gas emissions, then to renewable energy, then to energy use, and then to climate related policy. What are your government outcomes? What are your laws? How are you trying to make sure that your laws are in sync with climate change, or stopping climate change, adapting or mitigating? So that is the important criterias. Even if you remember just a few criterias, what is the highest weightage, it will be fine. Clear? India has been ranked in top 10. We are ranked 7th in top 10. Again, do you have to remember the exact rank? No. Just remember that India is faring well in the Climate Change Performance Index. We are in top 10. Clear about this? That is important. Okay? So that is the idea. We've discussed these. A quick way to revise is all in your slides. Let's come to question number 7. Consider the following statements. Leads the topic that we had spoken about based on the Logistics Performance Index of World Bank. We have created an index for our country as well called Leads. Logistics ease across different states. Please attempt this in the polls and then we will discuss this. All right. So what is logistics ease? Logistics ease in the context of infrastructure, in the context of governance, in the context of easy road connectivity, etc. Yes. So how are logistics improving? The time taken from one place to another improving. Very important for any economic development of a country. Very important for human development as well. So logistics ease across different states report, and the state startup ranking. How is the startup ecosystem in different states? So these two reports are released by the Ministry of Commerce Commerce and Industry, it says. That is absolutely correct. It is launched by not Niti Aayog. Please remember, one very common mistake is that everything when it comes to internally or national reports, it is Niti Aayog. So I will write what it's not as well. It is not Niti Aayog. Both these reports are launched by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Very, very important. Clear? By Ministry of Commerce and Industry. The second statement, the Composite Water Management Index. The Composite Water Management Index, it was a lot in the news. There were a lot of statements that most Indian cities are going to be scarce in terms, there will be a lot of problems of water scarcity in the years to come. There is already a problem when it comes to availability. There was a huge problem even in the context of Bengaluru. So it becomes important. The Composite Water Management Index is released by Niti Aayog. Is released by Niti Aayog. It is correct. Let's see the third statement. 8 core industry. Now you have an industrial ranking which checks the increase in industrial production called the Index of Industrial Production. So it will check, it is released every month and will do a comparison of last year in that particular month versus this month. What is the growth in terms of industrial production? So in IIP, there is a core group, that there is 8 core industries which have a weightage of 40%. Those are called the 8 core group industries. I'm sure you have done this in your economy classes. So 8 core industries comprise 40% of the weight of items in the index of industrial production. That is correct, with the least weightage. Now in these 8, so there are different categories, for instance refinery products, second is electricity and so on, but the least weightage amongst these 8 core industries is given to fertilizers. Clear about this? That is important. Clear? So that is given to fertilizers. Absolutely correct. Third is correct. So how many of the given statements is or are correct? All three statements given here are correct. All 3 statements. Clear? Let's discuss this. Can you see this? Leads annual exercise or report in order to check the logistical performance of states, checking the areas or ranking them on the basis of logistics infrastructure, logistics service, and the regulatory environment. Clear? It is launched by DPIIT of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Few achiever states, and they club the states in different areas. For instance, there are a ranking of coastal states, there is a ranking of northeastern states, and there is a ranking of the landlocked states. So few states which are achievers are Andhra Pradesh in the coastal regions, Haryana in the landlocked regions, and Assam in the northeastern category. When you talk about Niti Aayog, a few important reports have been clubbed here. The Composite Water Management Index, the SDG India Index, it's important. The School Education Quality Index and India Innovation Index. Of course, the School Education Quality Index also involves the Ministry of Education and World Bank, and India Innovation Index involves DPIIT and Niti Aayog. Clear about this? So it is important. Can you tell me a scheme that we had done a few days ago which was launched by Niti Aayog and which also has a ranking, which also has an index or a ranking in order to increase the competition within districts? Can you name that quickly? The aspirational districts index or rankings. Yes. So this is also you can add here for Niti Aayog. Excellent. Let's move on to our next question now. Before that, I have added the information. This I'm sure you would have done in economy. index of industrial production. This is weightage in a decreasing order. The highest weightage, of course, given to refinery products and the lowest weightage given to fertilizer. Sometimes it is important, an MCQ can be made on this. Please revise the particular order. At least revise the particular order. The first being refinery products, the second being electricity, third being steel, and the last being fertilizers. Clear about this? Next question, everyone. Consider the following reports or statements. Very important. One of the favorite topics. Elephants are one of the favorite topics for your prelims examination. There have been recurrent questions on it, so it's important to see some developments related to the particular species. Done? Alright, so most of you have voted for B, which is 40%. Let's discuss this. Very important. According to the elephant corridor reports, what are elephant corridors? Elephant corridors are those stretch of lands, that narrow stretch of land that connects two habitats, two elephant habitats, and they use it for a lot of migration. So those are elephant corridors, very important. So according to the elephant corridor report, which state has the maximum number of elephant corridors? If they've asked the state with the maximum number of elephants in your previous year questions, they can also ask the maximum number of elephant corridors. Clear? So according to this, the state with the maximum elephant corridors is West Bengal. Is West Bengal. Absolutely correct. Please remember this. Do not get confused that the maximum number of elephants are in the state of Karnataka. So the elephant corridors will also be maximum in the state of Karnataka. That is not true. Remember World Bank. Clear? Point number 2. Chhattisgarh has the highest number of elephant reserves. It's talking about elephant reserves. Does Chhattisgarh have the highest number? It is incorrect. Tamil Nadu as well as Assam, they both have five elephant reserves each and therefore have the highest number of elephant reserves. Can you please name 1 or 2 elephant reserves from the state of Chhattisgarh? Please name a few elephant reserves, maybe 1 elephant reserve from the state of Chhattisgarh. Lemru is correct. Badalkhol, Tamar Pingla is also correct. Well done. Well done. Okay. So it is not Chhattisgarh, it is Tamil Nadu and Assam. Second is incorrect. Third statement. State with the highest number of recorded elephant population is not Kerala. It is Karnataka. It is Karnataka. So third becomes incorrect again. The fourth is a very important statement. Now please note the IUCN status of both the African elephant and the tiger is the same. That is incorrect. That is incorrect. Why? Because the IUCN status of the Asian elephant is endangered. And the IUCN status of the tiger is also endangered. But the IUCN status of the African elephants is critically endangered. Clear? So it is not the same. Please remember that. So fourth is also incorrect. How many of the given statements is or are correct? Only one statement is correct. Only one statement is correct, that is A. So A becomes your answer. A becomes your answer. Clear? Please look at this. Center identifies 62 new elephant corridors, making the total almost 120 now. East Central region has the most corridor. West Bengal tops the list when it comes to the maximum corridors. Clear about this? The number of elephants in Karnataka goes up by 364 from the last census, touching 6395. Karnataka leads the country when it comes to the total number of elephants. I'm sure there is an error. Let me correct the error. It is vulnerable. It is vulnerable. Thank you for pointing out. But the status is different. Thank you for pointing out. The status is different. It is not the same. So the statement in the question is correct. The statement in the question is correct. Please also remember another observation that the IUCN status of the African elephant and the Asian elephant is not the same. That is all. It is not the same. Clear about this? So please remember this, and this will also be sufficient. Clear about this? Yes. So I've made the correction. Thank you so much. Elephant reserves, the highest are in Tamil Nadu and Assam, which are 5 each. Maximum population in Karnataka and maximum elephant corridors in West Bengal. That is all. Clear? All right. Let's move on to our next question. Consider the following statements. Consider the following reports. These are given. How many of the given reports are released by the World Economic Forum? How many of the given reports are released by the World Economic Forum? Done? All right, let's discuss this. Consider the following reports. Global Gender Gap Report, Global Gender Gap Report, Global Risks Report, Future of Jobs Report, and Global Cyber Security Outlook. The 4 reports that are particularly given here. How many of the given reports are released by the World Economic Forum? How many of the given reports are released by the World Economic Forum? The first is very, very important when it comes to the World Economic Forum. The Global Gender Gap Report is released by World Economic Forum. Please remember that there are important criteria or dimensions that we will see. The second is Global Risks Report. Global Risks Report, which is also released by World Economic Forum. Future of Jobs. How will the jobs change in the coming times? How will the jobs change in the coming times is also released by World Economic Forum. And Global Cyber Security Outlook. What will be the Global Cyber Security Outlook is also released by World Economic Forum. That in the coming times, what will be the cyber security challenges when it comes to new technologies, etc. So how many of the given reports released are released by World Economic Forum? They all are correct. So D is your answer. D is your answer. Clear? We are still not sure about, I will make sure that we check the IUCN status. There are two types of African elephants. There might be a difference in the two status, the two types of African elephants. So this we will check and revise. I'm not convinced about the vulnerable status. Clear about this? Yes. All right, let's discuss this. World Economic Forum, Global Gender Gap Report. Global Gender Gap Report, very important. Which all parameters or dimensions does it check? Economic participation. What is the economic participation when it comes to women? What are the labor force participation rates? How are they particularly participating? Second, educational attainment. As compared to men, how are women faring in terms of literacy figures? Third, health and survival. What are the survival rates? What are particularly the survival rates in the form of nutrition? Is there any nutritional deficiency? The fourth very important point, they can ask that political empowerment is also a dimension. Political empowerment is also a dimension when it comes to the Global Gender Gap Report. Clear? The four dimensions. Please remember these four dimensions. They are important when it comes to the Global Gender Gap Report. The second is Global Risks Report. What are the risks in terms of maybe climate change, in terms of new technologies, etc. Future of Jobs Report. How are jobs going to change? How are jobs going to change maybe in the face of AI, maybe in the face of technology, etc. Global Cyber Security Outlook, and also the Global Competitiveness Report that we have already done. They are all released by the World Economic Forum. Clear about this? Consider the following pairs. Next question, everyone. State of the world's migratory species, Global Waste Management Outlook, Trade Policy Tools for Climate Action, and State of the World's Children Report. It's important. How many of the given pairs are incorrectly matched? Attempt it in the polls, please. Last few seconds, everyone. All right. Let's discuss this. Consider the following pairs. State of the world's migratory species. State of the world's migratory species was one of the first reports. It's been released for the first time, and it is released under the Convention of Migratory Species. Under the Convention on Migratory Species, it is not IUCN, it is CMS. So first is incorrect. Let's check this out. It was released at the Conference of the Parties 14th Conference of the Parties of CMS that happened in Samarkand in Uzbekistan in the year February 2024. The State of the World's Migratory Species has revealed that the species which are most prone to extinction or threat are the aquatic ecosystem species. They are the worst hit when it comes to the migratory species. Clear about this? So this is released by CMS under the direction of CMS, also called as the Bonn Convention. Clear about this? Yes. Let's discuss the other one. Global Waste Management Outlook we have already done. Global Waste Management Outlook is not by UN Habitat, it is by UNEP. It is by UNEP. Very, very important. Trade policy tools for climate action. How can trade particularly be more sustainable, can help with climate related targets? It is a report by WTO, World Trade Organization. Absolutely correct. Trade policy tools for climate action report. The fourth report is State of the World's Children report. State of the World's Children report is also by UNICEF. Clear about this? That is why out of the 4 given statements, 2 are correct, 2 pairs are correctly matched, making B as our answer. B is our answer. Clear about this? Yes. So UNICEF is releasing the State of the World's Children. Please understand, whenever there is an education related report, then it will be UNESCO. But whenever it is a children related report, it will be UNICEF. So State of the World's Children report is UNICEF, and Prospects for Children report is also UNICEF, and Humanitarian Action for Children is also UNICEF. Please try to take the educated guess when it just says children in a particular report. Clear about this? Yes? Alright. So, Global Education Monitoring Report is UNESCO's report. As I had said, education will be UNESCO, children will be UNICEF. Clear about this? Yes. Alright. Let's go to our next question. Consider the following pairs. Attempt this in the polls, please. The annotated PDF will be provided. We will make sure that we provide it in the Telegram channel. Bonn Convention was taken up in the environment portion of Conquer Prelims. We are here to do reports and indices, so we will restrict ourselves to coverage. Done, everyone? Let's discuss this. So most of you have marked C as the answer. Consider the following pairs. Global Financial Stability Report. Global Financial Stability Report is released by International Monetary Fund, IMF. Absolutely correct. One of the most important reports released by IMF, Global Financial Stability Report. The second is Goods Trade Barometer. Goods Trade Barometer, basically checking the kind of particular trade, the levels of trade, etc. It is not by UNCTAD, it is not UN Conference for Trade and Development, but it is by WTO. A very important report published by WTO is Goods Trade Barometer. Second is incorrect. Clear? Third, Global Livability Index. Global Livability Index is released by Economist Intelligence Unit. Economist Intelligence Unit, absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. There is no problem with it. World Air Quality Report released by a Swiss organization called IQ Air, absolutely correct as well. Absolutely correct as well. So the only problem, or the only given statement that was incorrect was Goods Trade Barometer, that is by WTO and not UNCTAD. Clear? How many of the given pairs is or are correctly matched? 3 pairs out of the given are correctly matched. Well done. Well done. Let's discuss this. So IMF important reports are Global Financial Stability Report, World Economic Outlook, again an important report, Fiscal Monitor Report, and Article 4 Consultation Report. Article 4 consultation report. Here the IMF had also in a way remarked on the external debt or on the total government debt of India. So that is why it was in the news for quite some time. So Article 4 consultation, Fiscal Monitor, World Economic Outlook and Global Financial Stability Report are all World Bank initiatives. Clear? WTO, an important report, is Global Trade Barometer. The second is World Trade Report. Clear? Yes. The UNCTAD is World Investment Report. So everything related to investments will be by UN Conference of Trade and Development. World Investment Report. When it says trade and development, then it is UNCTAD. When it only says Trade Barometer, then it is WTO. Clear about this? Yes. So make sure that you make a note of all of these. The Economist Intelligence Unit. When you talk about the Economist Intelligence Unit, what are the prominent reports? First is, of course, the Livability Index. Now, please understand, just matching pointers with it. For livability, you will need democracy. So it will be Global Democracy Index, also by the same organization. For living, you will need a good internet connection. So it will be Inclusive Internet Index as well. And you have to manage your cost of living. So it will also be Worldwide Cost of Living Index. All these 4 are released by Economist Intelligence Unit. Please remember this. This is important. Okay. World Air Quality Report is by the Swiss organization IQ Air. And the Air Quality Index in India is released by CPCB. We've already done the pollutants that are in the AQI index. The one pollutant that is not is carbon dioxide. Remember this discussion? Yes? All right. Well done. Let's move on to our next question, everyone. Next question. Consider the following statements. Important again, a few reports which are clubbed in together. Let's discuss this. Most of you have voted for B. Consider the following statements. The global estimates on modern slavery report. Basically, one way of understanding this is when you're talking about ILO, International Labour Organization, it will dive into reports. Its area of concern will be labor, will be employment, will be wages. Please remember. So if there is any report around these areas, it will be an initiative of ILO. This is how you can take an educated guess on the same. So when it talks about modern slavery, what is modern slavery? In a way, a type of employment. The type of employment is particularly taken into focus here. So this is an employment related report. This is a work related report. This is a report regarding the rights of the workers or the individuals. So these are areas which are for ILO. So it is absolutely correct. The global estimates on modern slavery and the world employment and social outlooks. Even if there is a report which is talking about social security. Social security of what? Of laborers. Yes? Then that will also be the domain of ILO. Clear? So first is correct. They are released by the same organization, that is ILO. The second statement, Global Terrorism Index. Global Terrorism Index, that how badly are particular countries, they are ranked according to how badly are they affected by the problem of terrorism. It is released by SIPRI, Stockholm International Peace Research Institute. This is incorrect. This is incorrect. So please, can you tell me which particular report does SIPRI release? Can you tell me the report of SIPRI? Can you do that? The weapons report, the international trends on arms and weapons. Well done, well done. So the Global Terrorism Report or Index is not an initiative of SIPRI, but it is an initiative or a report of the Institute for Economics and Peace. An Australian Institute for Economics and Peace will release the Global Terrorism Index. SIPRI will be responsible for the report on international arms transfer. International arms transfer, where they say that which are the biggest producers of arms, which are the biggest consumers of arms, what is the arms export like, who is exporting maximum from whom. Those are the areas of it. Clear? So India is a top 5 arm exporter. So India is in the top 5 when it comes to the import of arms, and maximum arms that we are importing is from the country Russia. So SIPRI is for arms. Institute for Economics and Peace. You can remember peace, that you want to counter terrorism to ensure peace. That is how you can remember that particular report. ILO will have everything to do with, as I said, world employment and social outlook, global estimates on modern slavery, and global wage report, even wages. Clear about this? Alright, so that is why second statement is incorrect. Let's see the third statement. Again, a migration report, related report. International Migration Outlook 2023. Like we had done the migration and development brief, that was an initiative of the World Bank. This particular migration, International Migration Outlook 2023, is released by OECD. That is absolutely correct. OECD generally are a group of those developed countries which are a little wary of the amount of migration that is incoming in those countries. So International Migration Outlook 2023 is released by OECD. Absolutely correct. Clear? How many of the given statements is or are incorrect? It is asking. So only one statement is incorrect. Clear about this? Yes? Yes. Only one is incorrect. Let's move on to our next question. Next question, everyone. Consider the following statements. Our last question for the evening. Last question. Please attempt it in the polls. Important statement because it has been recorded, the population of snow leopards have been recorded for the first time, becomes important for us. Let's discuss this. So most of you have voted for B. (43%). All right. First ever scientific exercise estimating snow leopard population in India was recently conducted with NTCA acting as the national coordinator for this exercise. Is this correct or is this incorrect? So it was the first ever scientific exercise to estimate the population of the highly elusive species that is snow leopard. But the coordinator, the national coordinator was not NTCA, but the national coordinator was Wildlife Institute of India. Wildlife Institute of India. Clear about this? So first is incorrect because of that. Let's discuss the second statement. Maximum number of snow leopards. When it's talking about where is the maximum population, maximum number of snow leopards were recorded in Ladakh, followed by Himachal Pradesh. This is the statement. Is this correct? Now the first part is correct, that the maximum are found in the Union Territory of Ladakh, but the second highest population is Uttarakhand and not Himachal Pradesh. Please understand that there is a difference. You must remember that it's first Ladakh and second Uttarakhand. Alright? So second statement is also incorrect. Can you tell me in the comment section what is considered that one national park which is also called the snow leopard capital of the world? The snow leopard capital. Which is that one national park? Please write it in the comments. Well done. It is the Hemis National Park situated in the Union Territory of Ladakh. The Hemis National Park is also called the snow leopard capital of the world. Can you also tell me which state in India is also called the falcon capital, the falcon capital of the world? Please name an Indian state also called the falcon capital of the world. Well done. It is Nagaland and it is the Doyang Lake. Particularly the Doyang Lake in Nagaland, which is very, very popular for a lot of falcons during their flyway, the migration in their flyway. Excellent. Yes. So these are important facts again in the context of environment and ecology. The third statement is snow leopards and clouded leopards. Snow leopards and clouded leopards are both found in the northwestern Himalayas as well as the northeastern Himalayas. What is the problem with this statement? The problem with this statement is that snow leopards definitely are found both in the western Himalayas as well as the northeastern Himalayas. But the clouded leopard is only found in the northeastern Himalayas or only found in the northeastern regions. Clear about this? So that is a difference in terms of distribution. Please remember this. Snow leopard in both the areas, clouded only in the northeastern region. Also in a lot of Southeast Asian states they are found. Clear? So third becomes incorrect. How many of the given statements is or are correct? None of the given statements are correct, making D as our answer. None of the given statements are correct. Please see the slide for important observations. Wildlife Institute of India, based in Dehradun, acting as the national coordinator. The states in terms of decreasing order of population when it comes to the snow leopard are Ladakh, the Union Territory of Ladakh. Second is Uttarakhand. Third is Himachal Pradesh. Fourth is Arunachal Pradesh. Fifth is Sikkim. And then the last is Jammu and Kashmir. Clear about this? Yes, Hemis National Park is important when it comes to the snow leopard, and the clouded leopards. The distribution is only in the northeastern states when it comes to India. Clear about this? So these are important pointers that you will have to keep in mind. Regarding the elephants, there are two species of elephants, African elephants, as I had said. One is critically endangered, the other is endangered. Please make sure that you know that particular difference. Clear about this? Yes. Also in terms of size, if they ask you a comparison, the African elephants are considered larger in size as compared to Asian elephants. Clear about this? Before we end the session, a very important announcement. If you are looking to join a Plus subscription on the Unacademy platform, the time is now in fact ticking, because this offer is going to end today. Today is the last day for you to avail the offer for 15 months only at a price of 29,999. Please make sure that you have checked this offer out. A lot of batches are going to go live. They have also gone live today. So it will be a fresh start for you if you're looking to come on the platform. If there are any queries whatsoever, feel free to call on this number and they will be answered. Do not miss to come back. Do not miss coming back at the same time, 7:30 tomorrow, for a very important session, which is the International Relations Marathon that will be conducted by Chetan sir. All right, please do not forget to pour your love in the form of comments, like, share and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It means a lot to us. It motivates us in doing whatever we are doing for you. Thank you so much, everyone. Take very good care of yourself. I am signing off from Conquer Prelims. Good night.